Almost every trader knows that feeling, right? That roller coaster of big wins and crushing losses, the endless search for that one perfect system, and of course, that constant battle with your own emotions. But what if? What if you could find a simple, repeatable process that just turns all of that around? Well, today we're going to dive into the journey of a trader who did exactly that, and he transformed some really painful losses into a system that completely changed his life. This right here, this was the conviction that drove trader Vijay Kant after getting wiped out not once, but twice early in his career. It's such a powerful statement about resilience, isn't it? It's about refusing to be beaten by the market. And man, it really sets the stage for the incredible discipline that was about to follow. So, before he discovered a system that actually worked, Vijay's story was, well, it was one of struggle. It's a path that I think a lot of traders out there will find painfully familiar. So, let's take a look at how it all began. So his journey didn't start on some fancy trading floor. Nope, it started in a medical store. Back in 2005, just a casual curiosity about stocks led to some early success. But it was all built on a pretty shaky foundation. Then came the 2008 crash. He was using leverage he didn't really understand, and poof, he lost everything, and then some. He came back 2 years later, but this time he was driven by that dangerous desire for revenge, and he quickly lost another huge sum. Two major wipeouts in just a few years. Ouch. Okay, so hitting rock bottom for the second time could have easily been the end of his story. But for Vijay, it was a major turning point. A chance encounter at a seminar literally handed him what felt like a holy grail. A simple tool that would completely redefine his entire approach to the markets. And that tool was the Super Trend Indicator. It's actually a really straightforward visual guide. When the price is in an uptrend, the line is green and it sits below the price. When that trend flips, the line turns red and it jumps above the price. That's it. For Vijay, this simple indicator became his guide, his North Star. It took all the emotion and all the guesswork out of his decisions. So you might be asking, how did Vijay turn this one indicator into a complete, bulletproof system? Well, it all came down to a set of core rules that he followed, get this, religiously for years. The entire system is built on just these three core parameters. First, the indicator itself, Supertrend, with its standard setting of 10-3. Simple enough. But the most crucial element, the real key here, is the time frame, weekly. By looking at the market through a weekly lens, he could just filter out all that distracting day-to-day noise and focus only on the big, significant, established trends. Now, his entry rule, it's a very deliberate two-step process, and it's designed specifically to avoid those annoying false signals. He doesn't just jump in the second the super trend turns green mid-week. No way. He waits for step one, the weekly candle must close above the line. That confirmation happens on Friday. Only then does he watch for step two, entering the trade if, and only if, the price breaks above the high of that confirmation candle in the following week. If there's no break, there's no trade. Simple as that. A great entry is pretty much useless without a great exit plan. And Vijay's is just as disciplined. It's a three-part strategy, and it's designed to systematically lock in those gains. So first, he secures 40% of his position after a 40% gain. Boom, profit in the bank. If the stock keeps running another 40%, he sells the next 30%. This leaves a final 30% of the position to just ride the trend for as long as it possibly lasts, with the super trend indicator itself serving as the final stop loss. Okay, so a simple system is a great start, but mastery comes from refinement. Over 8 years of practice, Vijay didn't just keep his system static. He developed 5 key hacks, or you could call them filters, to help him focus only on the absolute highest quality trade setups. Hack number 1 is all about the breakout candle itself. He learns to ignore signals that appeared on weak candles with long upper wicks that shows sellers are pushing the price down. Instead, he learned to prioritize signals that appear on a strong, full-bodied king candle with almost no wick at all. That shows pure, unadulterated buying conviction. That's the good stuff. The other hacks just refine his selection even more. He prioritizes breakouts that happen after a long consolidation. We're talking 18 weeks or more of sideways action. He never, ever deviates from waiting for that Friday weekly close for confirmation. He looks for signals that also confirm a change in market structure, like breaking a previous swing high. And finally, he adds a quick fundamental check, just to build the conviction he needs to hold a position through those inevitable, scary pullbacks. So, let's put it all together. How does the core system, when you combine it with these 5 powerful hacks, create the complete, refined strategy that he uses today? All right, so he added another layer to his chart, a 50 EMA band. Now, this isn't just one moving average line, it's 3 50-period EMAs, one based on the high price, one on the low, and one on the close. And together, they create this dynamic zone of support. So during a healthy uptrend, a pullback into this band often signals a prime opportunity to either get in or add to a position. And this brings us to the absolute bedrock of his entire strategy, risk management. You might wonder, how does he handle stop losses that can be 20 or even 25% away from his entry? The secret is position sizing. By allocating only 5% of his total capital to a single trade, even a huge 20% stop loss results in a risk of just 1% of his entire portfolio. This simple math is the key, my friends, to long-term survival in this game. So this is it. The perfect A-plus setup. It's a beautiful confluence of every single rule we've talked about. You've got the core supertrend signal, confirmed by a powerful king candle. It's happening after a long consolidation, and it's breaking the market structure. The stock is respecting that 50 EMA band, and a quick fundamental check gives you the confidence to pull the trigger. When every single one of these boxes is checked, that is the moment of highest conviction. But after all of these technical rules, all these indicators, all these hacks, Vijay argues that none of that is the true secret. The indicator, it's just a tool. The most important component for success, well, it lies somewhere else entirely. For him, trading success is 55% psychology. Think about that for a second. More than half the battle is won or lost right up here, in your mind. Risk management is the next most important at 25%, and only then does the actual analysis, the charts, the indicators, come in at a mere 15%. He believes that without the right mindset, discipline, and emotional control, even the most perfect system on earth is destined to fail. And this brings us to his core message. You know how banks have KYC, know your customer? Well, traders need KYS, know yourself. The stock market is mechanically simple, but it is not easy to execute successfully, day in and day out. You absolutely have to build a system that aligns with your own personality, your own available time, and your own tolerance for risk. What works for him might not work for you. And that leaves us with the final and most critical question. A system like this is incredibly simple to understand, but following it week after week through the wins and the losses, without letting fear or greed get in the way, that's the hard part. The strategy is right there, but the real challenge, as always, is within ourselves.